We are live. We are live. We're live. Testing. Can you hear me? This is the new Bridging the Generation podcast brought to you by me. How about that? Brought to you by me. In this episode, I am going to tackle one of the myths that have been currently circulating within the Western society, particularly or specifically the United States. I feel that these issues are this narrative is very popular and it's been very pervasive within the political sector and within the multiple cultural sectors that we have in the United States. So I hope you guys enjoy this. I hope you guys really appreciate this lesson. Again, this is the new revamped version of the Bridging Generation podcast. Currently in the process of getting the studio fully set up. So just bear with me. Let me go ahead and try to unpack this. I'm not going to take too long, but this is not something that I can just skim over. And, I hope you guys enjoy this. I hope this is very informative. And I hope anyone that is tuning in, everyone that's tuning in, I hope you guys, hope you guys learn something and, some good information. So recently there was a study on bLaCk. Let me get this. There was a study on diversity, equity, and inclusion. To be honest, this really started. Let me take that back. It's not a study on diversity, equity, inclusion. This was a study and research in regarding to the United States tax codes and how the United States tax codes are racist. And being that we are in a society where we view everything through race, I myself had to take a fundamental look at this and see what the noise is all about. So, a little bit about myself. Born and raised here in Washington, D.C. Grew up, lower, what most people will call lower class. I was in foster homes, man. I lived with various family members, but I've overcame all of those things and have made myself into a very successful person, someone who doesn't live, someone that is not defined by the trials and tribulations that I've overcome. Somebody that doesn't consider themselves a victim. And, I didn't always have this ideology. I didn't always have this mentality. But I noticed things started to change in my life in the way that I view things once I let go of that mentality of feeling that I'm entitled, that I'm owed something. And I had to look back at my life and realize that I am the master of my destiny. Now, again, I am a Christian. I do believe in the man upstairs. I do believe in my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, Yeshua. But there were events that led to me being the man that I am today. So got that out the way. So when I hear a lot of this rhetoric, again, that is very pervasive in the United States, and hell, it's starting to permeate throughout the globe as far as a lot of these different narratives. So when I see this article about this woman, I don't know too much about her, but I know she wrote this book. She says that she's done some research, so I had to do some research myself. So again, I want you guys to take a look at what she's saying here in this interview on MSNBC, left-wing news outlet. Oh, my light fell down. Put that back up. And I want you guys to hear this. You guys to make your own judgments and see what you think. But let me go ahead and set this thing up, and we're gonna go ahead and have some fun. Yeah, so loading this video up.
America, as in this United States of America, was having a racial reckoning. So many corporations and businesses were promising to do better, putting out statements.
Wrong video. Oops, sorry. You're not my kinda. Ooh, gotta remove that one. That is for later. I should have seen that because I have my glasses on. There's no excuse. But we are making it happen. There we go.
She's a black woman academic from the South Bronx. She says she faced racism every day of her life. So when it came to choosing a career, she went with math because numbers. I mean, with numbers, there's no way that something that's as straightforward and numerical as the tax system could deal with race, right? Well, Dorothy Brown says, quote, "I've never been so wrong about something in my life." After getting her law degree and then her master's in tax law, Brown was helping her parents with their taxes when she noticed something odd. Now, they were married, but they didn't seem to benefit from the tax breaks that one should expect to see from a married couple. Dorothy Brown dug in and quickly discovered that the IRS does not collect or publish data for race the same way they do for gender or for age. So that caused Brown to begin to dig deeper and deeper. She says she became a detective, looking at the history of different tax laws. She looked at who benefits from most tax breaks and loopholes and who doesn't. Take her parents' marriage examples. Now, marriage tax cuts only benefit single wage earner households or couples where one worker makes significantly more than the other. So, for example, a household where both spouses work and make similar incomes, they're not going to get the tax cut. And as it turns out, households with equal earners that have two full-time workers, they're more likely to be black. And then,
all right, I gotta stop this. Man. This is funny. Again, this is MSNBC, very left-wing, liberal media outlet. I don't know who this guy is, but I know this show. The show is called rEalLy. Not really, like I said, I'm not really familiar with this gentleman here. I don't know why he wearing these glasses, man. Like, you're supposed to be a news correspondent, but you're wearing these weird glasses, man. Like, you're really trying to be polarizing. I find it kind of weird. I don't want to be too harsh on the brother, man. But anyway, so this woman is saying that she's looking at the different tax codes. She's seeing her neighbors, her white neighbors that are benefiting from the tax codes, and she deems that racist. She deems it racist. I think it's quite ridiculous. But, you know, a lot of times what I've noticed, because we fail to address things within our culture, we have to point fingers at things that we feel do not benefit us in the way that we want it to be. And that comes from compromising who we are as individuals. You know, when you don't take into account morality, when you don't take into account character, this is what happens. So when I hear guys like this speaking, you know, it's almost laughable. And somebody said Sean Oringer is 2024, and yes, America is still racist towards black people. He said America, this is what I'm talking about. He said America is still racist towards black people. Now here's this black man on this mainstream media network, as a host. And we still feel that America is racist. All that you can't point to any legislation, any amendment, or anything within the Constitution that says black people are not permitted to participate in these things. So a lot of these narratives that I hear amongst black people are, again, you know, regarding the left, I find it silly, because I used to believe in this nonsense, but when I realized I had to take a look at my life and realize somebody who's come from poverty, who come from, you know, growing up on Section 8 and Section 8 housing, food stamps, things of that nature. It was a culture that cultivated that environment. It was a culture. Even the Rainbow Mafia got more laws and privilege than black folks. He said, with less time, that's a big indicator. No, brother, that's called the victim hierarchy. Because with leftism, with progressiveness, if you really look at it, they eat their own. So you're always going to be in competition with other so-called intersectional intersectional things. So you're going to have the LGBTQ, they go feel like they victims. You're going to have the Jewish feel like they're victims. You're going to have black people feeling like they're victims. So it's almost an Olympic. It's the victim Olympics. Who can win in the victim Olympics? So, but again, there's nothing that anyone could definitively point at in the Constitution, in the Declaration of Independence. No legislation that says black people are not allowed to do these things. And if this country is so racist, this got to be the most feeble form of racism I've ever seen when it comes to systemic racism, and what I hear all the time. So I find it hypocritical that you have a lot of these college educated. If America was so racist, how did you become a college professor? How did you become a dean of students? How did you become own multiple businesses? He said, I can't care about diversity, rhetoric, or individual achievements. Racism still exists towards black people as a whole. But you can't, you're okay, brother. What you're saying is, you're saying racism still exists. Well, guess what? Newsflash, Sean. Newsflash, you cannot legislate love. No one has to like you. When you look at black culture as a whole, it's not because of your skin color. It's because of the things that we uphold, the things that we exalt. So when you look at a culture, and if someone does not want to be a part of that culture, that they have every right to. They don't have to like you or put you in this position. You build something with your own hands, then you can make any type of mandates or decrees or laws that you want. But even with that being said, disparity is not an indicator of racism, because again, you have so many, you cannot point to any. I'm still waiting for you to show me a legislation, a current legislation or law that says Black people are not permitted to do these things. Because if there's real white supremacy, well, I should not be owning multiple homes. I should not have my own business. Don't expect me to provide for my children. I don't care. On my last comment, he said, I don't care about that diversity rhetoric or the individual achievement. Brother, racism exists. Racism is something that is displayed by everybody, brother. The only person that can end that is Jesus Christ. Man is not going to. You would need Jesus Christ on behalf of man, intervening on behalf of man to stop what's in one's heart. So as Black people are racist, as white people are racist, you have Black people that are racist, you have Asian people that are racist, you have Latino people that are racist, but individuals that are racist is not a reflection of a system. You still cannot show me a system. Okay, he said, I respect that. All right. But again, you can't show me a system of white supremacy. You can't show me a system of racism. For every act of racism that you see, I can show you 10 times the acts of kind gestures that is shown whites to blacks, blacks to whites, Latinos to Blacks or whatever. What people don't realize, good and evil is a behavior that is practiced by everyone. By everyone. Nobody is exempt from having hatred in their heart. Nobody is exempt from having love in their heart or showing acts of kindness. And this is what I want Black people to understand, because you cannot, when you look at disparity, you have to take into account that the United States is 65% Caucasian. Black people only represent 12% of the population, and they've only been representing 12% of the population since 1987. So when you have Black on Black genocide, when you lead in abortion, you hurt those numbers. So I know everyone heard the term, there's power in numbers. Yeah, it's power in numbers. But if you keep killing each other and you're not incentivizing production as far as education, creating your own businesses, cultivating an environment that highlights the nuclear family. See, these things are what most Black people would say are right-wing talking points. These things are what most Black people would say are European, white European, things that white Europeans would participate in, and I say this, well, if you look at the statistics and if you look at the people that subscribe to this type of behavior, look where they fare and look at the people who do not subscribe in a certain type of behavior. Look at most households that are led with a mother and father. They are more conducive for a child in regarding to how they end up in the future. That's just a fact. That's just a fact. So what I'm trying to explain to a lot of black people, and this is the argument, that falls flat when it comes out a lot of black people's mouths. You can't show me a system of racism. You can point to narratives and you can show me disparity, but the word nuance exists for a reason. The word nuance exists for a reason. So there's a brother named Thomas Sowell, and he has a book. He got many books that break down a lot of these disparity narratives. But if you look at the data and you do your research on these things, you will see that a lot of different factors, attribute to the racial disparities. And that's just a fact. So when I say that, when I speak like that, it's not me trying to mock black people or me try to condemn black people. It's me trying to open, black people's eyes to what's around them and take advantage of a country, of a system that if they participate in regarding to educating yourself, having a strong work ethic, being faithful to your wife, being a good father, a good mother to your children, a good wife to your husband, believing in God. These things produce a great outcome. There's no way around that. You can't circumvent. I'm sorry, you can't circumvent character. You can't. It's impossible. Your life is a reflection of the decisions that you make, good or bad. That goes for me. That goes for anybody else. So again, your life is a reflection of the decisions that you make. And I'm not trying to be, what some people would say, he's being misogynistic, but I can kind of understand women thinking like that because women are the weaker vessel. They think they come from a place of weakness. That's not me being mean or harsh, but they just do. Even if you look at where women stand in society, the reason that they have everything that they have is because men gave it to them. Men allowed women to have all the different opportunities that they have, which for the most part we should have. Now that's a whole different conversation. But the point I'm trying to make is your life is a reflection of the decisions that you make, good or bad. So if there's obstacles in your way, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? You going to stand there and let these things overcome you, overtake you, or you're going to fight? Because at the end of the day, nobody is entitled to give you anything. You cannot look at the past. How long are we going to hang on the past as if these things affect who we are today? They don't. They don't. You apply yourself. You work hard. You show work ethic. You show that you can contribute to society, that you can produce. You're going to be successful in this world. That's just what it is. And again, if this country is so racist, if it's so racist, and white supremacy is the dominating force that rules the United States, well, it's very feeble. It's very weak. I mean, I don't understand how something could be supreme but be weak at the same time. Because if it was white supremacy, there's no this black man that's on my screen. There's no black man that's going to be the news anchor of any platform. We need to let black people know that they are inferior. So we're not going to platform them. That's real white supremacy. That's real white supremacy. I'm not going to give you any opportunities because I believe that you are incompetent. That's real white supremacy. So you have all these woke college professors, pseudo intellectuals, white knight saviors. Lord, that's the wrong term. I'll say white saviors. White people that feel guilty about things that were systemically in place hundreds and years ago and things of that nature. Man, black people should feel insulted by these things. We should feel insulted by these things. We should feel insulted that a white person can tell you that you're oppressed when there's no barrier that's stopping you. You want to apply for a job? Apply for a job. You want to get your credit together? Get your credit together. You want to get a wife and have children, or get a husband and have a wife and have children? Nobody's stopping you. So again, it's a very feeble form of white supremacy, to the point it's non-existent, to the point that I say that systemic racism does not exist. Racism exists, but racism has no factor on your life. Doesn't have no factor on your life. So I want to go back to this. I kind of went off the brother Sean. I'm glad that you tuning in, brother. It's all love, all respect. But I want you guys to see this from this guy on the Velshi show.
By contrast, household where there is a single wage earner, where one spouse can afford to stay home and not work, those are significantly more likely to be white. Now, through arduous study and research, Brown uncovered a long list of ways that both tax law and the many other systems that impact wealth generation tend to favor white Americans and also disadvantage Black Americans. In her book, The Whiteness of Wealth, How the Tax System Impoverishes Black Americans and How We Can Fix It, was published in 2021. Since then, Brown has been appointed to the Treasury Advisory Committee on Racial Equity under Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen. Brown and her other committee co-members have made recommendations on how to address racial equity matters within the tax code. She recently said in an interview with NPR that despite the board's work and recommendations, quote, "We have not seen much progress at all." Joining me now is Dorothy Brown, professor of law at Georgetown University and member on the Advisory Committee on Racial Equity at the Department of the Treasury. Good morning. Thank you so much for being here. Dorothy, you said in an interview with NPR's Marketplace recently that you haven't seen a whole lot of interest in just this conversation about centering race and racial equity within the Treasury. Why do you think that is?
Because Treasury doesn't see racial equity as something that they should be focusing on. They haven't historically. They give lip service to it under Secretary Yellen. But when the Treasury Advisory Committee makes recommendations like you should really have a path forward on collecting data by race, because you shouldn't depend on an academic like Dorothy Brown to uncover the racial biases in our.
Now I got to stop it. Look at the aesthetics. Take a look at this woman. This is a Black woman, professor at one of the most prestigious private universities in America, which is here in my hometown of Washington, D.C., Georgetown University. If this country is so racist, how the hell is Dorothy Brown a professor? How the hell is Dorothy Brown a professor at one of the oldest, most prestigious Catholic private universities in America? She's sitting up there with her Chanel necklace on, which is, some white person. She's sitting up there showing her materialism, which, look, I have no problem with somebody liking nice things. I like nice things. Let's be clear. But this woman is sitting up here in her privileged position telling you that this country is racist. Now, I'm pretty sure Dorothy Brown worked hard to put herself in that position, but let's not act like her being put in that position was not by some white person. Let's just be honest. No black person in Georgetown put her in that position. So do we still think this country is racist systemically? I digress. Let's continue.
Tax code. There's a Stanford study that came out last year that showed if you were Black and you filed for the earned income tax credit, you were 3 to 5 times more likely to be audited than if you were non-Black. That needs to be fleshed out. The Treasury should be at the forefront of this. We made the recommendation in March of last year, and we have seen very little progress. Data is critical. The IRS and Treasury publish a lot of data about a lot of things, but not about race. And I'm very disappointed in Secretary Yellen not moving our recommendations forward faster.
This is such an important conversation because there are so many of us within our community, within Black America, who feel like there are things systemically that hold us back or that are pressing on us in different ways, but we can't prove it. We can't point to it. So when you bring up the notion of data, I just want to underscore how valuable and imperative that is. Dorothy, you're a friend to bLaCk.
See, when you watch things like this is what I'm talking about. Being able to analyze what you're watching, being able to process information and not just listen to people regurgitate narratives. Now, this guy is clearly giving a softball interview. This is clearly a layup to put this woman on a platform to push a narrative. Now, notice how he said, how we're always saying that we deem something racist, but we can never prove it. You know why you can't prove it? You know why you can't prove it? Because it's not real. You can't prove today in 2024. Now, listen, don't tell me about Jim Crow, 1948, 1960. We talk about today in the United States. You can't show me these things. She's a professor buying European bread doesn't mean the country is a racist. Sean, okay, the brother said, brother, I'm keep asking you, show me in the laws and the legislations, show me where people that do not push show me where people that do not push these racial narratives. Show me how popular these guys are. Everybody that push the racial narratives, they're being platformed. You are being rewarded. Benjamin Crump, Al Sharpton, these guys have made a career. You still cannot show me that this country is systemically racist. Again, Brother Sean, and I say this respectfully, if this country is racist, if this country is ran by white supremacy, it's the weakest, most feeblest form of white supremacy there is. If the white man don't want you to have nothing, this black man on this network, on this mainstream media platform, he's not going to be on it. This Dorothy Brown, she's not going to get the opportunity to sign with a publisher and put out a book. You are not going to be the professor at one of the most prestigious private universities in America. We're not going to create things like affirmative action and DEI, diversity, equity, inclusion. These things are not going to exist because we need to let the black man and the colored man, we need to let them know that they will never have a footing to be able to be successful. That's weird. That's real white supremacy. That's real racism. I don't know why black people are so caught up on and white people liking them. Stop being caught up in white people liking you. Go out here, make opportunities for yourself. Because I'll tell you one thing, this is the only country where you can start with nothing and become something. You can start with nothing and become something. Go to Africa and see how far you will go to Africa with no capital and see how far you will last. I hear brothers talking all the time about going to Africa and I'm gonna get a house in Africa because America's so great. Yeah, you gonna go over there with money from the United States. Because if you had to go to Africa and build wealth, it will take your lifetime just to build a damn hut. So stop it. Stop it. Let's continue.
And the show, and you spoke to rEalLy about 3 years ago, and you said that one of the things that was most important there was for the IRS to collect and to publish data on race, the same way they do with age and gender. And President Biden's racial equity order back in 2021, that actually affirmed that. From a policy place, what do you think has to happen in order to bring that into a reality? Is the pressure to be applied in the Treasury? Is it to be applied to legislatures? Is it a combination of both? Or do you think it's in the courts where this needs to be fought?
No, it's very simple. The White House needs to pick up the phone and tell Treasury Secretary Yellen they meant what they said in the racial equity order, and they expect progress on the Treasury Advisory Committee's recommendations forthwith. It's not complicated. We have a path forward. We recommended how to get it done. And the White House needs to step up and say, we meant it. We need disaggregated data by race in the Treasury and IRS. We have it at HUD. We have it at the Department of Labor. We know how many people ride bicycles by race, but we don't know how taxpayers pay their taxes by race. It is a sin and a shame.
I'm glad you brought up those examples of other places in government that are already doing this, because what it does is that it eliminates the argument that, well, we don't ever do this. We never sort of look at these statistics. The fact that there are models that exist across other agencies is so critical for building a model that is consistent across all government agencies. Back in 2020,
I actually call it Treasury's exceptionalism. They are the outlier here.
Well, that's important to point out, and I'm glad you did. Back in 2020, there were a lot of folks from different communities, a lot of white Americans, for example, who had questions about how to show up, how to be allies. And right now, you've said that it's important for white Americans to engage with the subject of racism and wealth accumulation and racism in the tax system as well. You've mentioned that this sort of...
Oh, my goodness. Black people. Newsflash. White people don't owe you anything. White people in America in 2024 don't owe you anything. Matter of fact, you should feel insulted that there are white people that's out here saying that they need to be allies because of something that has not been proven. She still has not said or conveyed conveyed how the tax code is racist. She still hasn't said that. What I hear is there are loopholes within the tax code that black people are not privy to. Okay. And what does that have to do with the tax code being racist? There is things as an entrepreneur that white people are not privy to. If you think that all white people are living great, go to Middle America. Go to the Appalachian Mountains in North Carolina and Virginia. Go to Waterloo, Iowa. Go to Covington, Kentucky. You got white people, no teeth, barefoot, that will look at where you live at and think that you live, you know, in paradise. So this whole communist mentality, this whole social justice narrative that is being pushed on our people by these damn communists, by these damn Marxists, you guys eat this stuff hook, line, and sinker, and you should feel insulted. Brother, it's not a matter, Brother Sean, it's not a matter of respect. It's a matter of you showing work ethic to get what you deserve. You build something, you should be able to hire and fire whoever you want. It's your business. It's your business. In a free market, in a capitalist society, when you let things play out, the cream rises to the top. The cream rises to the top. So when she talks about there's loopholes in the tax code that black people are not privy to, you know why? That's culture. That's education. That don't got nothing to do with white people. You know how many white people don't know these things? You think every white person benefits from this tax code? Are you serious? Are you nuts? Are you crazy? You think every white person benefits from these things? No, they don't. But more of them benefit from these things because of their culture. It's not that black people are stupid. It's not that black people are inherently inferior. It's a culture that does not promote certain things, does not promote entrepreneurship, does not promote the nuclear family. We all over the place. We promote pimp culture. We promote rap culture. We promote deaf culture. We promote all these things that are not conducive to a black community being able to thrive. Is every black person like that? No, but unfortunately, even the black people that do not partake in these things by their actions, they are not vocal about speaking out against these things. So that's how you get a black girl that's a PhD at FAMU that wants to show up and twerk and butt naked. That story that you heard from last year, the young college student. It's culture. I come on my mom's side. They're from a small little town in Heathsville, Virginia. Population, I don't know, maybe 1,200. My mother, my mom who's passed away back in 2017, all of her siblings, they grew up in a 2-bedroom home. 3 girls in one room. 3 girls in one room, 4 boys in one room, and my grandmother and grandfather in another room. All of them moved to Washington, D.C. right after the King riots, and all of them are retired and successful. Now, some are not here. Half of them are not here today because they passed away, but they all did well for themselves because of their mentality, because of their work ethic. When they came up here, all of their children went to the private schools, the DeMathas, the Seton. They lived in nice upper middle class neighborhoods. It's a culture. They taught my uncle right now, my Uncle Vernon owns, I don't know, maybe about 9 different properties. Got his own landscaping business. So he didn't graduate college. Out of all my mom's siblings, only 2 of them out of 9, only 2 graduated from college. And they grew up in Jim Crow. They grew up in Jim Crow when there was really some actual pushback on black people. So if every time you have to talk about systemic racism, you got to point back 50, 60 years ago, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. This black woman, Dorothy Moore, is an author and a college professor. I don't believe that individual merit or success doesn't phase out anything. First of all, you are not, Brother Sean, I say this again respectfully. I thank you for tuning in, but you are not accountable for someone else's actions. You are not, as an individual, you should not have responsibility over someone outside of your family, your immediate family, your wife, your children. That's who you're responsible for. The problem with Black people in America is we don't want to take agency over ourselves as individuals. Before you go out here worrying about what somebody else doing, what are you doing? What are you teaching your children? Because I bet you one thing, this Dorothy Moore, she's teaching her children how to be successful. She's finding ways, loopholes within this white supremacist system to be successful. But again, it contradicts she contradicts herself because she is a living example. She is a living example of how this country is not systemically racist. Because if this country is systemically racist, you're not a professor. You're not a professor. I don't have to put you in that position. Black people, newsflash, you represent 12% of the population. White people don't have to give you nothing. If Black people went to war against white people, we will lose. We're going to lose. I know y'all don't want to hear that. I'm sorry. You're going to lose. That sounds harsh. I know. There was a lot of, during the pre-civil rights movement, there were a lot of these laws that were prohibiting Black people from obtaining certain things. These things were falling off the books because it was hurting white people. It was hurting their capital. In a free market, when you only serve a certain demographic, you're going to lose. Why do you think the MLB integrated with Jackie Robinson? Because if they didn't, the Negro League would have crushed them. They had all the stars. But Black people view their product as inferior. And listen, this is not to cause a divide or to have this allegiance to Blackness, or that's not what I'm about. But I'm gonna be honest, at that time, you had so many Black ball players, the Satchel Paige, the Jackie Robinsons, the Roy Campanella, Josh Gibson. You know, you had so many great Black ball players, and the owner for the New York Yankees, his name jogs my memory at this moment. He looked at it like, we gonna get crushed if this Black league continue at the rate that it is. Yo, we gonna lose out. There's so much talent. So what they did, which was smart, that's what you do in a capitalist society. That's what you do in a free market. You look at something that has an upward trajectory, and if it can benefit you, you're going to align yourself with it. And that's what they did. So yes, was the MLB racist? Yeah, I'm not denying that. So what? So what? Black people had their own league. And their league was not as old as the MLB, and it was doing well. But you thought it was inferior. So you went over to the MLB. Now then you don't have no Black league. So now you have to adhere to the rules of the league that you joined. You had your own league. And this has played out in all of United States history. You look at the Montgomery bus boycott. The Montgomery bus boycott, that put a lot of Black bus companies out of business. When Black people wanted to integrate and ride on the front of the bus on the white man's bus, Who cares? If he don't want you riding at the front of the bus, who cares? So what? You put him out of business. Put him out of business. Start your own bus company and you can serve everybody. Black people can ride on your buses. White people can ride on your bus and you put them out of business. I don't care about no Tulsa race riot. That's an incident. That's no worse than that was not a massacre. That was a riot. It's a race riot. But because black people lack context, you look at certain events and you magnify them. You give them more credence than they actually deserve. Because I know that's where a lot of people will go to. Well, look at Tulsa. You talk about the race riots. You talk about where a white woman was accused, a black man was accused of raping a white woman. So they didn't lynch the black man. They took him down to the courthouse. That's what would happen if right now, if I was accused of raping a black woman, they would arrest me and then I will be put on trial. They will hold me. They would take me to the courthouse, put me in jail until it's my time to be on trial, to be able to defend myself. That's just the law. But the black people was like, hell nah, he ain't do nothing. You don't know nothing about this story. You don't know if it's true or it's not true. You go down to the courthouse with guns. The white people don't have guns. So they see all these Negroes with guns. They like, oh, what the hell going on? So we coming back with guns. And when they came back with guns, the black person shot first. He shot first. So what you think these white people gonna do? And even with all of that, there was only 12 people killed, black and white. So it wasn't no massacre. It was a race riot. But again, that's something that happened over 100 years ago. You know, this woman, Dorothy Moore, still haven't proved how the tax code. What I see is her making excuses and want to push this communist rhetoric of aligning herself with people who share these false racial narratives. And black people, you guys got to stop eating it up. But let's finish watching it. It's almost over. Let's see what she, because maybe she can prove me wrong. I haven't watched this. I read the article, but maybe she could prove me wrong. Yes. Didn't have enough confidence with the ideas and products. Come on.
Allyship is helpful and impactful for white Americans to be forthcoming about in terms of intergenerational wealth and about their experiences with wealth building. This is not done to shame anyone for what they've been able to achieve, but to help illuminate the issues around disparities. Can you talk about how critical this piece of allyship is for people who are invested in building greater equity?
It's very important because you may be sitting you're a black employee, you may be sitting at the cubicle next to your white colleague, and your white colleague is sending their children with the same salary, which is a big assumption based on race in the labor market, but with the same salary, your next door cubicle person can send their kids to private school, lives in a really nice house, and you're like, how come I can't make it work? You, black employee, if you're a college grad, you're more likely to send money to your parents. Your white peer is more likely to get money from their parents. And if white Americans talk more about this hidden form of wealth, what I call interfamily transfers, then Black Americans see we're not doing anything wrong. We've got a tax system that we are paying for, but that are stripping us of wealth. We have a Treasury Secretary that doesn't seem to want to move the ball forward. And we have this intergenerational wealth advantage that white Americans have that often don't want to talk about. But I will say, Charles, since my book came out, I've gotten emails from white Americans telling me their story and saying, I want to be an ally. And let me tell you how my whiteness helped me financially.
Dorothy Brown, thank you so much for your important work.
Y'all hear that? Y'all hear that? Foolishness. Foolishness. So many things to dispel in this video. It's pretty laughable. Black people, y'all should feel insulted when these woke social justice warriors talk like this, and when they try to align themselves, when they try to bring forth these white people that have this guilt trip in regarding to racism as if they can make your life better. You should feel insulted by that. Like, have you any decency as Black people? Have y'all any decency? This woman did not speak on, she still did not, she did not speak on how the IRS tax code is racist. This woman does not realize that the IRS does not even collect information on race. When you fill out a W-4 or a W-2, somebody let me know, when have you ever put your race on it? When you ever put your race on a W-2 or a W-4? Huh? When you ever put your race on a W-2 or W-4? So this woman is being disingenuous because she's pushing a narrative. It's a narrative, and she benefits off of it because she's able to make books, write books on this foolishness. And she already knows that Black people hate this country and they believe in all the false racial narratives. So she's incentivized on doing that, on writing, on pushing these narratives, pushing this propaganda. But her life is a total reflection of how this country is not systemically racist. So again, I'm gonna read this article. And it's from the Appalachian Journal of Law. It says, the main problem that permeates Brown's analysis is that she only considers one side of the equation. The tax code contains numerous features that on average affect people groups differently. It is easy to make the tax code appear discriminatory if one only considers those policies that harm a given group while ignoring policies that have the opposite effect. For example, the following tax policies could harm white Americans and benefit Black Americans because they apply disproportionately to high-income taxpayers. These are the things that can affect different taxpayers, white taxpayers. Progressive tax rates, capping mortgage interest deductions at $7,500, capping the state and local tax deduction at $10,000, earned income tax credit, alternative minimum tax, income limits on Roth IRAs, estate taxes, progressive capital gains tax rates. This list is not to say that on average the current tax code does not favor white Americans at the cost of Black Americans. Rather, this is only to point out that one must consider both sides of the equation to accurately make such a claim. This is what I'm talking about. Black people lacking context. Black people lacking information, lacking knowledge. It's not that they don't have the mental fortitude or intelligence to process these things, but you've already cut yourself off at the knees because you subscribe to these racial narratives. So everything that does not represent Black people the way that you deem fit, even though you don't look at the multitude of factors or variables, you're gonna deem it as racist. You're gonna deem it as racist. So it goes on to say, unfortunately, Brown does nothing of the sort. This lack is likely because doing so would cast serious doubt on the legitimacy of her claims. For example, the top 1% of federal income taxpayers pay more than the bottom 95% combined. What are we talking about? Let me read that again. For example, the top 1% of federal income taxpayers pay more than the bottom 95% combined. Did you know that? Did y'all know that? This is foolishness what this woman is talking about. And she's supposed to be some pseudo-intellectual scholar. This woman is foolish. Additionally, of the top 1% wealthiest Americans, only 1.7 are Black, despite making up over 13% of the population. Starting from this vantage point, we see the immense uphill battle required to demonstrate that such a system is discriminatory against Black people. Really? Really? You only represent 13% of the population, and only 1.7% of this population represents the wealthiest people, the wealthiest Americans. So that's not, the tax code has nothing to do with that. The tax code doesn't care. The tax code is just going to do what it does. It's going to do what it does. It don't know if you Black or white. These are conspiracy theories. These are conspiracy theories. It doesn't know what color you are. If you don't know the loopholes, well, guess what? How come somebody's podcast is bigger than my podcast? Well, they know certain things that I may not know. Does that make it racist? Does it make it racist? If you have a trucking business, you want to start a trucking business, and somebody else already has a trucking business, because you're not where they are at, does it make it racist that you're not where they're at, where they are at? They did the due diligence to seek out information. You have to do the same thing. Nobody is obligated to teach you anything other than your parents when you are a child. If in the event your parents do not teach you the things that you need to be able to survive and make it into this world, more than likely you are going to fail, or there's going to be a delay in the process of you becoming successful. I'm sorry, that's just the way it is. That's just the way it is. So it has nothing to do with the tax code being racist and again, her believing that white people, guilting white people into this narrative, like, Black people, have you no shame? I hate to talk harsh like this, but you need people to talk, because they have been placating and pandering to you long enough. Wake up, do for yourself. If you don't take care of your children, if you're not a good father, not a good husband to your wife, you can't say nothing to me. You are ineligible. You are disqualified from even being in this conversation in regarding to, is this country built on white supremacy, or is it systemically racist? Individually does. Let me see what his brother said. Hey, y'all can chip in. Everybody else, if y'all got something to say, man, go ahead and tap in. Individually does empower individuals, and to a certain extent, families. Connections and knowledge among your circle helps a lot. It does. That's not racism, Sean. That's nepotism. Hey, Sean, if I have a business, my son want to go into the business, your son wants to apply to my business, I'm going to choose my son over your son and the white man's son. Now, in the event that they have a vast amount of knowledge over my son, then of course I might choose him and then have my son, you know, come in on the back end or whatever. But that's called nepotism. That's not racism. That's nepotism. That's tribalism. It's not racism. And at the end of the day, it's my business. I hire whoever I want. You build a business, hire whoever you want. It's that simple. Y'all don't understand how communism works, man. Y'all don't understand that the naturalization and the privatization of industry is destructive. If you look at what these women, I don't want to say these women, let me take that, scratch that. If you look at what people like Dorothy Brown subscribe to, it's Marxist communist rhetoric. It's socialism. They're talking about redistribution of wealth. You don't own nothing. So this it's foolishness. It's foolishness. You know, y'all can keep subscribing to this nonsense all y'all want to, but it's foolishness. Let me continue reading this article. Okay, because a lot of what she's saying is some very deceptive anecdotes. That's why I want to read this to break all this stuff down so you guys will understand that what she's saying is a mere fallacy. It's not true. It's just not true. Sorry to bust your bubble. It's not true. So much of the book has to do with the differences between the average Black American and the average white American. Moreover, when Brown refers to this, she generally uses the terms average and medium to denote the distinction. Again, she uses the term average and median to denote the distinction. However, sometimes she omits the term, which create a misleading statement. For example, Brown states that neither Black husbands nor Black wives have the same job opportunities and earning potential as their white peers. And when Black people purchase homes, they do not receive the home equity boost that their white peers get. As written, these statements are incorrect because they omit the average distinction. She's being funny, slick, and loose with her wording. She's being very slick and loose with her wording. And that's done, that's strategically done. That is on purpose. Because if she represents this story in an honest and genuine way, it would dismantle this entire theory that she has. It says perhaps even more misleading is Brown's frequent use of targeted examples of individual white and Black taxpayers. She almost exclusively provides examples of wealthy white Americans and poor and lower middle class Black Americans. It is true that white Americans are statistically more likely to be in the former category and Black Americans in the latter. However, by only providing examples that conform to this generality, the reader is given a false impression about the economic diversity of Black and white people. Meaning, she's only showing you one side when it comes to white people. She don't represent Black people in a honest way where you can look at the different factors that goes into them making into this certain tax bracket. So when she talks about, there's loopholes, again, loopholes is not racism. Knowing loopholes is knowledge. It's knowledge. What you're willing to learn. It comes from, it goes hand in hand with culture. Goes hand in hand with culture. What you're passing down to the next generation. So when you hear people like that talk like that, you got to pay attention and you got to wonder, what agenda are they pushing? What agenda are they pushing? You know, says another problem with generalizing white people as financially successful and black people as not is that it perpetuates harmful stereotypes. If society views wealthy white people and poor and lower middle class black people as the norm, risk treating poor white people and wealthy black people, of which there are many, as abnormalities. Brown even goes so far in perpetuating this harmful stereotype as to refer to black people who have obtained financial success as acting white. So basically she's saying all the black people, now I'm not going to say she's actually saying this, but she is perpetuating a stereotype that can be used to point her out. I bet Dorothy Brown files her taxes properly. I bet Dorothy Brown knows about the loopholes in the tax codes. I bet Dorothy Brown, if she's married and has children, I bet she's teaching these loopholes to her children. Culture, information, education. That's how you defeat these things. That's how you move forward in a society, in a free market society. That's how you move forward. No one gave Dorothy Moore a degree from Georgetown. She didn't just fall out of bed and just got a degree from Georgetown or whatever. I don't know what school she went to, but she wasn't just given a degree. She wasn't just, she worked hard, studied, showed a certain level of work ethic, and she was rewarded for that. What black people can't do that? Under 2% doesn't do anything. It just shows how collectively powerless we are, and some deserve more because we don't build money. Exactly, Sean. But that has nothing to do with, again, Sean, that has nothing to do with racism. That has everything to do with culture. You're not going to circumvent culture. You're not going to circumvent accountability, black man, black woman. You're just not. You're trying to find loopholes around agency over yourself. Teach your children how to be strong. Teach your children how to love God. Love your wife. Submit to your husband, black woman. You tell me if you use these tenets, which comes from the word of God, which comes from the Bible, what's going to stop you? You study hard in school. You use that work ethic and that discipline when you become an adult. You either work for somebody to gain the necessary skills to be able to be an entrepreneur. You go to school to get to further your education. And to be honest, I'm not even really with college like that, because most of these universities, if not all, are basically liberal indoctrination centers. But use it for what you can get out of it. There's no way, if you want to be a surgeon, a chemist, stationary engineer, lawyer, you're going to have to go to college. Ain't no way around that. You can't show up to a law firm and say, well, I know the law. I watch Matlock. I watch Law and Order. I mean, do I really have to pass the bar exam? No, it don't work like that. But my overall message to black people, man, stop making excuses, man. Stop making excuses. Stop worrying about representation and worry about doing for yourself. Stop letting these left-wing political pundits speak for you. Because they look at you like babies because you keep crying. You keep crying. It's like you guys like being wards of the state. Give me more food stamps. Give me more Section 8. Do you know what comes with that? How about you go out and learn a skill? Teach your children about learning a skill. Point them in that direction. Teach them math, science, how to read. Black boys are reading on a 4th grade level. The average black kid is not, that's 8th grade and above are not sufficient in math, reading, and science. What are you talking about? What are we talking about? Y'all worried about disparity? Y'all worried about equity, diversity, inclusion? Are you nuts? What are y'all talking about? Men, step up, be leaders. Stop crying. It's sick. It's disgusting. Any brother of color with Christianity in his mouth is a traitor to the people and misleading the youth. This is what I'm talking about. This is what I'm talking about. This is what I'm talking about. And this to say these type of brothers are the ones that are sexual deviants, that are not taking care of their children, that are not good husbands to their wives, that's out here crying about the white man is over top. I don't even listen to stuff like that. That stuff don't even trigger me. Because what people like this do, what people like this brother Kaiser Soze do, they deem everything that's decent, that is in order, as white. The devil knows that. If Satan know that everything that is deemed decent and in order, black people go view that as a European concept, a white European concept. Why wouldn't he use these racial narratives to keep black people lost? So when I hear stuff like that, I just, it's foolishness. It don't trigger me. I don't get mad at. It's the same brother that's asking. He probably the same brother that got the jab or asking for reparations. These are not real men. These are not real men. So y'all can go out here and keep crying about the white man as a devil and stay in a permanent underclass all you want to. Have at it. Have at it. There's so many opportunities for people in this country. Is this country perfect? Hell no. Hell no. I'm not saying this country perfect. That don't make any sense. Nothing wrong with appreciating God. We live in a world with the most freedom in his mental. Let me see what he's saying. Hey man, anybody that speaks against Christ, man, I don't even listen to him, man. I don't even give them Godspeed. I don't throw my pearls at swine, because these brothers that believe in all this chakra, if you such a God, black man, black woman, well, get yourself out of your oppression. The Bible was distributed to people of color by the white. It's a fact because you said it's a fact, Kaiser Soze. I know that. I know. Well, black man, if you such a God, get yourself out of your oppression. Get yourself out of your oppression. Get yourself out of your oppression. Because if you such a God, y'all the weakest type of gods I've seen. What do you produce? You don't produce nothing. History says it's a fact. No, history does not say that. History says that ancient Kemet and the Egyptians, they built the pyramids, not you Negroes. Y'all Negroes didn't build nothing. Last time I checked, Africa is a continent. Now, if you Egyptian, okay, all right. I guess you built something. But last time I checked, Egypt is not some global power in the world. Last time they did a study in 2017, they said that the ancient Egyptians, the Egyptians that are in Egypt today, they are less Egypt. They are the Egyptians that are in Egypt today are less Egyptian have less Egyptian blood than the ones that did that were here, you know, before Christ or BC, whatever you want to call it, in ancient times. So when you look at a lot of black history, it's exaggerated. It's exaggerated. If y'all built ancient Egypt, now again, the Egyptians are not black, just like the Russians. The Russians are not Chinese, but they're both in Asia. The Ghanaians, the Nigerians, and the Egyptians are different people. So stop trying to latch on to Egyptian culture. It's not your culture. Oh, now, listen. Let me take that back. Brother, you might be Egyptian. You might be Egyptian. But if you're not Egyptian, all that ancient Kemet, all that which I care nothing about, because I see with all this vast knowledge of Egypt, where has it gotten you? If you so strong, defeat the white man then. Defeat him. Defeat him. Okay, I can agree. I can get with the original stories of the Bible are from Africa. I would love to see what you mean by that. You actually think Christ was a literal person that walked the earth. Let me guess, you believe Samson ripped a ball in half with his bare hand. Well, guess what, Kaiser Soze? Give me some scriptures from the Egyptian Book of the Dead. Y'all don't even know the scriptures of your book. What do you believe in? Oh, you believe the black woman is God, right? You believe the black woman is God. You believe the black man is God with your chakras and your crystals. You believe that the black man is God. Well, why are you crying about a man? You are free. Free all of us. Free all of us, black man. Black man weak, man. Black man ain't nothing but a black man in 2024 is nothing but rhetoric and hot air. That's what it really boils down to, man. That's what it really boils down to. He don't want to believe in the Bible, but he'll believe he'll believe in all these Zeus and Hermes and Aphrodite and all this nonsense. Give me some scriptures out of the book that you believe in. Give me some prophecies from the Egyptian Book of the Dead, from ancient Kemet. Neither do I believe that black man is God. I'm just a truther. So he's an atheist. All right. He's an atheist. He don't believe in nothing. He don't believe in nothing. So you make your own laws and rules as you go. I get it. I get it. You can't. I don't even argue with people like that because they don't make any sense. But back to I want to finish speaking on this matter regarding this Miss Dorothy Brown, because again, she's talking nonsense, man. She's talking nonsense. Not one time has she been able to prove that the tax codes is racist. And black people, you guys got to stop. You guys got to stop allowing white people to make y'all feel. Stop allowing white people to affirm what you believe in. Ain't nothing stopping you from being successful. Ain't nothing stopping you from creating your own. The only person that's stopping you is the person in the mirror. That's it. I had to learn the hard way. I looked at myself and realized, man, you know what? What's stopping me? What's stopping me? And I realized that it was the person in the mirror. Once I did that, man, my life changed forever. So now I have children. I have a wife. So I cultivate that type of environment, that type of knowledge in the way I teach my children and how I lead my wife. These black men that's out here talking all this rhetoric, they don't know what it is to have a woman look up to them in a not that exalt them, but not in a way of worship because she is under some type of trance. She's under some type of trance by guys like Dr. York and brother polite, sexual deviants. These men don't know how to lead no woman. These men don't know how to lead children. These men are out here crying. My daughter said the other day, she was like, why these black men? It's disgusting. It's pathetic. It's disgusting. Black man, you should feel ashamed. Have you no shame? Have you no shame? You not getting reparations. Go out there and build your own. Because last time I checked, slavery was not something that was exclusively pinpointed and a concerted effort at black people. Every nationality went into slavery. What the hell that got to do with you, black man, in 2024? I was born in 1981. I was born in 1980. By the time I came along, there was a plethora of opportunities. Plethora of opportunities. Even the generation before me, my aunts and uncles, they have more than me, and they grew up in Jim Crow South. So what are you talking about? These Negroes sound crazy. They sound crazy. Listen, I say this out of love. I don't hate nobody on here that's tuning in. This is out of love, man. I swear it's out of love. I just want to see black people do better. I want to see people do better. I want people to steer people to Christ. I don't care what you believe in, Brother Kaiser. So say respectfully, but Christ is my Lord and Savior. Ain't no arguing that. Now you can believe in what you want to believe in, but the last time I checked, the laws and commandments that we have in this world, they were all based on biblical principles. Now, whether you choose to follow them or not, that's up to you. You gonna be, when it's all said and done, you gonna have to answer why there is no God. You're gonna have to answer for that. Now, I'm not saying you're saying that you don't believe in God, but let's, for argument's sake, and it sounds like that's what you believe in. He said, are you referring to the American Negro? So you can enslave. The same laws. Listen, brother, again, I'm not going to go back 200, 300 years ago and talk about slavery, because we all know that that was a black mark on this country. I get it, man. What you want me to do? But what I tell you, what the United States did do, we had a civil war that eradicated slavery. That's just a fact. Black people, I'm gonna simplify things for black people. Black people like context. There was not a segment of black people that fought against white people and won a war and won their slavery. No, that's not how it worked. You did not win your freedom because you defeated the white folks. There was a war. There was a war over slavery. Stop believing these narratives, man. They don't make sense and they're exaggerated. I'm not saying praise the white man, but I'm not going to make it seem like the white man is the devil and he's the responsible for all my problems. Stop it, man. Y'all sound weak. He said, Bob teach how to enslave. Do you agree with the laws as well? Yes, I do, brother. Yes. Know why, Kaiser Sose? In the Bible, there were nations that went against God and that fought the Israelites. And God said, when you go to war with these nations, I'm going to give you favor over these nations. And when you defeat these nations, you're able to take them as captives, as indentured servants. That's the word of God, brother. Take that up with him. Like he says, your thoughts are not his thoughts. Who are you to question God? Like, I'm really giving reverence, no disrespect. Like, I'm gonna give reverence to what you're saying over the creator. So if he said, you know what? These people sinned against my people, I'm going to allow them to be slaves. It is what it is. Oh, well. Oh, well. That's just the way it is. But I'll tell you one thing, slavery is illegal today. Slavery is illegal today. Ain't nobody in chains today. So all this talking about slavery, it's funny that you have to go back 200 years to try to legitimize your arguments. And that's funny because you don't have a leg to stand on when we're talking about in today's time. There's not a law, amendment, legislation that has been passed that shows that Black people are omitted to participating in said policies, events, anything. Stop expecting a white man to give you this and give you that, man. Go out here and create your own. You said we so strong, we such gods. Go ahead and create your own. But I just find it very funny that we out here in 2024 still put a country. If this country's so racist, it's allowing hundreds and thousands of illegal immigrants to this country. But this country's so racist. I'm trying to figure out what Nigerian, Pakistani, and Indian is getting turned away. But this country's so racist. What Nigerian is getting turned? No, you cannot come here because you're Nigerian. Oh, they are Kaiser Soze. So the Nigerians are getting turned away. They're not allowed to go through the process. Send me a link in the chat. Send me a link where Nigerians, Pakistanians, Asians are being denied access in receiving citizenship based on their race. So y'all can spew all the rhetoric that you want to. Don't make it true. Facts over feelings over here, man. I'm not trying to, this ain't no ego talking. It's facts over feelings. So, I just pretty much debunked this theory by Dorothy Moore is foolish. You guys got to stop believing in this nonsense. Go out here, build something, make something for yourself. Stop worrying about what the white man doing. He's not worried about you. I'm telling you, he's not worried about you. And you think this is a good thing for the American Negro. Hey, brother, I don't care nothing. I have no allegiance towards any race. I have an allegiance to my God and to my family. These racial narratives, this racial idolatry that you have is the reason why they go pretty much usher in the Antichrist with all this racial idolatry that you guys have. You believe it. You are a prime example of racial idolatry. You place your race above God. I laugh at that. That's funny to me. So I'm going to have allegiance to someone's skin color, and we don't even have shared values and beliefs. Come on, man. What are you talking about? But your God is the author of dividing races. No. If you read the book, he said neither Jew or Gentile. Neither Jew or Gentile. You had the Jews, his chosen people. You had the Gentiles, which was everyone else. Is going to have the opportunity to have salvation through Christ, Jesus Christ, or Yeshua. So what you said is incorrect. It is biblically incorrect, brother. I have no problem correcting you because you know not what you speak. It is okay. I am here to teach. Class is in session if you don't know what you're talking about. God is also not the author of confusion. He's not the author of confusion. You're bringing confusion. Now, it doesn't confuse me because I know the truth. I've been down your path. I've been down the path where I didn't believe in God, where I was damn near an atheist. I was there before. I just want to know when you on your deathbed, what's going to happen to you when your lights get turned out? What happens to you? Because if there's no reward in the afterlife, well, shit. Go kill as many people as you can. R-word women. Do whatever you want because there's not going to be no consequences anyway. There's no heaven and hell for you to go to. There's no God. Do whatever you want to get ahead. Create your form of morality and see how far it gets you. Because there is no God. You are your own God. Make the rules as you go. Don't agree with me. Don't agree with God. Don't agree with the laws of the land. Do what you want to do. After he done already separated races and done. I already told you, man. I already told you God has his chosen people. Who are you to argue? If he got his chosen people, he got his chosen people. It is what it is, brother. Suck it up. Suck it up. I ain't crying over that. The black people say that they the chosen people. Okay. All right. Y'all believe that? The white Jews, they say they're the chosen people. Whatever. We'll see. Eventually, we're going to see. But I don't care about none of that at the end of the day. At the end of the day, I know Christ is my redeemer. I know that Christ is where I will be, how I will be able to receive salvation and everlasting life. And that's just what it is. You don't have to believe in it. Hey, look, it don't make me no never mind. Y'all the one out here crying. Y'all the one out here crying about the white man is the devil. That the white man, that there's white supremacy, not me. I live a great life. My woman respects me. My woman submits to me. My children respect me. My children submit to me. So, all right, man. Nah, brother, I know that, brother. I know that. I know that. I've seen it. The prophecies in the Bible are unmatched. The wisdom that comes from the Bible is unmatched. It just is. So he says, so you said white supremacy is not real. Brother, I'm saying white supremacy is not real. I'm emphatically saying white supremacy is not real. The fact that you says that you believe that shows that you are inferior, that you believe that black people are inferior. For one to believe that white people are superior, that there is a such thing as white supremacy, you would have to believe that. Now, is there some faction or some demographic off in rural North Dakota that's spitting tobacco, talk about Aryan? Yeah, but they have no say so in the world. They have no control. They don't have no power. You cannot show me an institution that is systemically racist. You can't. Or you can keep saying, well, it's racist. It's racist. Okay. You can say that till you blue in the face. You can't show me no examples. Disparities, contrary to popular beliefs, disparities are not a reflection of examples. Read books by guys like Milton Friedman, Walter White, Thomas Sowell. Stop listening to these damn communists that you guys uphold. Has been going on, especially in America, for brother. You are okay in ages, brother. We get it. There was slavery. There was Jim Crow. I understand that, brother. We talk about 2024, man. If you want to go back to 1962 and speak on, brother, we get it. But contrary to popular belief, there was even in the midst of segregation, even in the midst of Jim Crow, black people married at an 83% clip, more than any other nationality in the United States from 1940 to 1964. There was also a 40% increase in wealth from 1940 to 1964 within the black community. So explain that. So there was some segregation and things like that. Things that black people and white people both agreed on being separate. I want mines over here, and black and white people was comfortable with being separate and having their own communities until these damn communists that you guys uphold. Black people are not in a position to have no moral authority on anything. As long as you allow twerking, as long as you allow rap culture and death culture and have a disproportionate amount of genocides within your own community, you're not in a position to say anything. More Black people have died from Black on Black violence than they have died through the entire so-called transatlantic slave trade, which has been vastly exaggerated. So you guys sound silly when you believe, and it's a sign of weakness. And it's sad, Kaiser, that a grown man is talking like this. This is sad. Has not been able to point out in today how there is a system of racism. Black man, are y'all going to speak out on Nicki Minaj and Suki Hana and Lotto? Are y'all going to speak out against that? Are y'all going to speak out on the proliferation of drug use in the Black culture? Are you going to speak out on Black on Black genocide, with 13% of the population almost commits as many murders as 65% of the population? Y'all gonna speak out on that? Until y'all speak out on these things, y'all can't tell me nothing. Black man can't tell me nothing. Black women can't tell me nothing. If there's real white supremacy, don't expect me to do anything. The Black woman should not expect the Black man to be able to take care of him, take care of her, or take care of his children. If there's a such thing as Black supremacy, I can't do anything. System racist still. That's what you keep saying, the same thing, brother. You keep saying, but you can't show me. You can't show me. You can't point me in the direction of how these things exist because you're speaking from a place of emotion, brother. I had to calm down because it riles me up. It triggers me. I would not lie. This stuff triggers me because I look at Black people crying and begging for acceptance, and they should be ashamed of themselves. But I'm gonna wrap it up, man. It's been like, an hour and a half. Kaiser Soze, thank you for tuning in. I'm gonna try to do at least about 3 of these episodes. The brother Sean, appreciate you for tuning in. I totally disagree with everything that you're saying. It's totally illogical. It makes literally zero sense. But I appreciate you tuning in. Appreciate the exchange. And I'm gonna go ahead and leave this to everyone that tuned in to watch this, man. Look, this world is not perfect. I'm trying to figure out when I ever received a memo that says it's going to be perfect. Learn how to make yourself valuable. Learn how to believe in God. Learn how to be a good father, to be a good mother, to be a good husband, to be a good wife. Learn how to educate yourself, to cultivate an environment that will be conducive for your community. Until you can do those things, you are in no moral position to question anything. Take agency over yourself. Leave the racial idolatry alone. Come back to God. Come back to Christ. Leave all this other nonsense alone. I love you. Godspeed. Peace.